month of the racing year, and this is the first practice session of the GMR Grand Prix here at Indy. Welcome, folks. Good morning. Lee Diffie along with Townsend Bell and James Hinchcliffe. Marty Snyder and Kevin Lee are here as the sun has just broken through. It was a very overcast and cloudy morning, rain overnight. But look at this, just beautiful conditions greet us as the cars roll for the very first official session in the month of May.
And have some success, but ooh.
That's why Colton Hert is out of the Gainbridge Honda. This is at the end of the install lap.
That's why you do an install lap. See if there's any issues. In this case, pretty significant one coming out of the left side. Looked like maybe oil coming through the headers there.
Sometimes when you put new wraps on the headers, they can smoke quite a bit, but that's a proper fire. That's not a...
Oh, he loves watching those highlights and sort of reliving what happened here last year. And I love what his dad, Brian, said, most fun win ever. Was that one of your most fun wins ever, too?
It's more fun than the session has started, I'll tell you that. But,
yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, it was great. You know, it kind of looks like we might be able to have a weekend like that again, a little bit of a hectic one, which is always fun for the fans. A little bit more stressful for us, but yeah, it's an incredible one. We'll never forget it.
Let's talk about the weekend start. Out there just on an install lap and then a fire. What happened?
I think we were leaking a little bit of oil, or at least that's what I've been told. When I came into the box, it didn't smell super strange. It didn't smell like oil was burning. It smelled more like brakes, but obviously there was something going on. We're going to go back there and check on it. I hope the engine's fine. Didn't feel like a blow-up to me, so hopefully we can see whatever is happening, sort it out. Obviously, we have a 75-minute session, so a really long session. Hopefully we can get it fixed and come back out here for a few laps.
This is a brand-new engine for you, so could it be something as simple as an oil line left loose?
You know, I'm not too sure. You know, usually my guys are on it, and I've never had anything like that with them, so don't think so, but obviously we'll look it over and see what went wrong and hopefully get back out here.
Let's talk about this weekend. How important is the GP to kind of start the momentum for the month of May?
It's so great to be back, first off, and yeah, it is. It just kind of sets the tone. Even though we're going the wrong way at a much lower speed, it's still great to drive around here and see everybody, and really just brings the energy back for the month of May and really the 500 at the end of it.
All right, Colton, good to hang out with you, and he's going to go back and check in with Nathan O'Rourke to see if they can diagnose exactly what happened with this engine, Kevin.
Sexton Properties, AJ Foyt Racing Car. He's been chatting with Larry Foyt just a little bit. Got to get the proper hat. There you go. Rep the brand. First time for you back here in a little while. What is that like? You know this place, but it's been, what, since 2020?
Yeah, in an IndyCar. I was here last year.
That's right.
Yeah, I was here last year in a stock car, and I was thinking to myself, man, it's weird. This thing has grip. So the track was still wet, so it's cool to be back. I mean, this is the best month of the year. Anyone's going to tell you that. So we're excited. Track's just a little damp for us, so hang out and wait.
Yeah, what's the brake marker in the IndyCar? What's the brake marker in the Xfinity car?
So in turn one here in the IndyCar, you're going 190 miles an hour, braking at like the 300, 350. The stock car, you maybe hit 160, 165, and you're braking before the pit lane wall ends. So there's not even a marker that goes that far back. I mean, it's like 1,000 feet, 900 feet. So it's a big difference. Plus, you got to go down 4 gears versus here, it's all in the hands.
Hey, you had a big weekend last weekend. You got to go to the Kentucky Derby with Larry, certainly Larry and the Foyt family. Here you go. You and Renee had a good time and picked the winning horse?
Yeah, funny enough, we bet on the 8, go figure. So we had a couple friends there that were, invested in that horse. I also picked the 14, which finished 3rd. But we did well. I mean, me and Larry, we had a blast. Unfortunately, AJ couldn't join us, but dude, what an experience. I can't thank him enough for taking me there. And wow, the outfits, all the pink, all the alcohol, there was a lot going on.
Oh boy.
A lot of betting.
And Mage won some money for Santino. All right, I know you did do an install lap, right?
Oh yeah, we're hanging out till the track dries.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, the session that just finished, they were 6 seconds off of what they did yesterday. Can you gain anything? The young drivers that are out there right now, is there much to be gained if it's going to be dry tomorrow afternoon?
I love learning a track in this condition. I mean, so when you're a young driver and you're in this condition, you're paying a lot more attention to what's going on. paying attention to what's happening in the rain. So when obviously you get to that full dry condition and you can't put the new reds on, like, you feel so much more confident. So I don't know. I personally enjoy learning tracks in the rain. I think it's more fun that way. Obviously, mixed conditions. I love to race in this condition. This is my all-time favorite racing condition.
Hey, the number 14 in Indianapolis is pretty special, and Santino Ferrucci gets to drive that A.J. Foyt racing car, guys.
McLaren Chevy. Whoa!
He's just practicing what Colton did to pass him last year. That happened after the upshift. That's a surprise. You're not supposed to get sideways in that moment, James. You think you're done and accelerating, but I think he just got his left rear on the white line to start with.
What has happened here? This is with Benjamin Peterson, birthday boy yesterday. There's going to be wall contact. There sure is, front left. He's not the only one this morning to do that, though. Here's his teammate. So from Benjamin Peterson to Santino Ferrucci. Turn 1, decided to abort.
Just checked in with Larry Foyt. I heard some radio conversation from Santino Ferrucci, so let's listen to that, and then I'll tell you more in just a second.
Yeah, you guys are you're either going to need to put water down on the box so we can get the rears going, because it's killing the clutch, because I have no clutch left. Copy.
And Larry just said, yeah, there's so much grip down here on the concrete that's the concern. And I think Hinch and Towns, you guys can explain that a little bit more, but what they're dealing with to make sure that they don't have long-term issues.
Yeah, just hot tires and launching off pit lane with a tall first gear. Here it's going to be taller than what you run, I think, pretty much anywhere else on the schedule, right, James? It's not like a street circuit first gear like you'd have at Long Beach. So you're asking a lot of the drive line with tons of grip and hot rubber to launch. I love Santino's suggestion of putting water down behind the rears. I've never heard that before. Super clever, and the shot that we just had, I could see some water under the rears, like the mechanics have responded and they're going to try it out.
That was such a fun day, and you just think about the nerves it takes to go out and qualify for the Indy 500 like that and to be able to put it on the pole. They are still trying to diagnose exactly what happened here in first practice session for the Indy GP. I think Scott's getting ready to climb out. They're checking some driveline issues. But Townsend, I just checked in with Chris Simmons, and he said he thinks it could be electrical because of how quick everything just shut down. So, you know, you can go down a lot of rabbit holes once it's an electrical issue, trying to figure out exactly what it could be and where to start to fix it.
Yeah, I wonder if they just threw a different steering wheel on. I saw Dixon reaffix the wheel. Oftentimes they'll swap out. There's so much computing in the steering wheel that oftentimes you can just go to the backup wheel, see if that fixes the issue. Meanwhile, there are front end suspension changes going on as well. So mechanical and electrical adjustments to the 9.
Checking out a replay here of Andretti Steinbrenner Autosports Devlin DeFrancesco, and that's pretty normal, Hinch.
Yeah, he sort of
and then
oh no.
Oh.
See, this is why you want to run through those at least once in practice. It looks like he had a bit of a rear lockup that actually got the weight transferred, because you see it's his outside front, it's his left front that locks, but then he sort of loses sight of where he is, and he takes out one of those bollards. Yeah, it's fine.
Normal for drivers to lock up there in turn 1, running deep and then taking that escape road, but unfortunately collected that bollard there.
At 18, maybe you just want to get that read as Alexander Rossi.
Oof.
This is not turn 1. This is over at turn 12.
It's interesting. I mean, you see that slow-mo. You see how violently his head moves. It's such a glancing blow, but it's still got so much force behind it. See the driver's head just banging off the headrest.
Let's have another look at it.
See, in slow-mo, just see, look at the helmet. He's starting to lean into the corner, and then boom, 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 and you get that ping-pong ball effect. Yeah, it can really throw you off.
Kevin, less than 10 minutes in this session.
So I just checked in with Brian Barnhart. Car is fine. We can, though, see the remnants of the tire. Well, not remnants. The tire is still fine, but you can see the result of it. We got a nice white wall spot right over there. All is good, and we'll see Alexander Rossi back out to make use of what time remains, Marty.
Kevin, if you look at the end of pit road, Joseph Newgarden is stuck there and was able to get back to his pit stall. Here's what happened leaving the pit stall. So we got to investigate what's going on with this and why they have to push him to get him going. But yeah, it just would not go. So Newgarden asked, said, can I get a push to get going? And Tim Cindric said that was our one shot. We can't do anything else from here. So back in his stall, we'll figure out what's going on mechanically with the two cars.
Is there any chance they fried the clutch based on what we heard out of Santino Ferrucci earlier, doing the hot stops on the high grip surface and the tall first gear?
Yeah, but isn't that early to be having that happen in the weekend, Townsend?
Well, it's just a combination of a really tall first gear and a lot of clutch slip. And these clutches are very, very fragile. So you know Ferrucci already was struggling. So we'll see.
It is early, but if the pit boxes are for some reasons a little grippier this year, it could happen.
And with just seconds to go, let's show you Rinus VeeKay, who knows the path to victory here.
So I'm starting to feel one and done, James, on the Reds before the rears start to go.
Well, we don't know how many laps that Pato had done. We know that his fast lap was the previous lap, but was that his first flyer or second flyer? I'm not sure. But yeah, it definitely looks like it's the rears that are going first.
Track temp 95.
So I mean, that's still reasonable. That's not an obnoxiously hot track temp at all.
But should be up this afternoon, I would guess.
7/1000ths of a second between you and second place. Should we be surprised it's that tight for the entire field?
No, I'm not surprised, man. I mean, it's every time we come here, it's always, you know, if you gain a 10th, you gain 6-7 spots, or sometimes even more. So qualifying is going to be probably going to be like that or even more. I'd assume so. And yeah, I mean, it's a busy day. We've made some good changes to the car, so you know what we need to do now is just make sure we follow the track to where it's going and have at it in qualifying.
We were riding on board with you a moment ago, the second run on those Reds. How many laps were on it? Because it looks like the rears totally went away very quick.
Yeah, it's been worse. It's been worse. So it's hard to say how much more you can get out of them. Definitely from one lap to the other, there was a significant step, but there's already one heat cycle in them. So I think for qualifying, this compound that we have this year seems to hold up a little bit better than what it did last year, at least for that second lap. So yeah, we'll just keep looking at it and see what we can make better.
So it's not necessarily one lap and done on this compound.
Yeah, last year was a bit more kind of like one and done deal, and you know, I had a very big mistake on my first flyer on the first heat cycle, but I could still put in a lap after that, so I think that's a good sign.
There you go, Pato Ward, quickest, Kevin.
Jack Harvey is up on the Ray Hall Letterman landing and pit staying, I think, sharing some good intel with Neil Fife and his engineer Al McDonald. This is a place where you've always gone well at. I think you were third on the primaries, fifth on the alternates. How goes it so far?
I think pretty decent, really. The number 30 custom entertainment car kind of unloaded pretty well straight away. I think everyone knows I like this place. I just like being at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Everything about this place is just cool. Naturally, I've always kind of feel like I've gone well here. We also don't take that for granted. You know, we did the track walk at 6:30 last night, and I think really the attitude is let's just leave no stone unturned, as many times as we can. And I think we could have had a slightly better red run, but it feels like there was a lot of grip for one lap, and a little bit of traffic, whatever. But it's a nice start to the weekend for sure.
So you've got part one that you're good here, and the team has been good here in the past, but the off-season was kind of a rethink. The deeper we get into the season, is this just part of that process that it's going to take a little time, and now we're starting to see the results?
Oh, sure, hope so. I've chatted about it a lot. In the off-season, there was a lot of accountability on my side, the team side. And ultimately, we just wanted to unite and figure out what it takes just to be more competitive. And, when you kind of started to dissect some of the bits from Barber, I think there was a few things that we didn't do, which we probably didn't realise that we hadn't done. So you just come this weekend and we just try and improve from the previous weekend and make it better in whatever one comes next. And I think the other thing is, before we worry about the Indy 500, we've got to get through this weekend, and we've got to get through it well. And I think so far so good. Obviously it's a busy day and tomorrow's busy too, so hopefully we just keep that momentum going.
I think generally speaking you like the wet, yes, But in this case, when the car is good, are you praying for no rain?
Well, I mean, when you're from the UK, mate, you have to dabble in all sorts of weather conditions a bit. So, I mean, we'll wait and see. Everyone said it was for sure going to rain today. You know, we did the whole session on slicks, and depending on what forecast you look at and when, I think ultimately we just got to try and take the weather, you know, as it comes. So, outside of that, we just got to keep progressing. And I said to the guys, every weekend, just got to come with maximum optimism. If opportunity comes our way, we'll take it.
One last thing, we caught you on the onboard almost with like your pinky sticking out as you gripped the steering wheel.
Oh, I'd have to see it. I don't. Not by design. Oh yeah. Well, you know.
That's how you hold your cup of tea.
You caught me off guard on that one. Well, yeah. I mean, pinky out, mate. It's British.
All right, you got to get the weigh in, so I don't want to keep you. Don't get fined.
But let's take a look at it and what jumps out to you.
Well, Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan looking refreshingly strong. 2 cars in the top 5 there with Newgarden and Harvey. Excited for both those young drivers to see what they might do to convert that into a strong result tomorrow.
The number 11 in 11th, that's kind of been a magic position for him this year. He's been there a few times, but for first session on the track, great start there. Andretti Autosport, not quite as strong as what we've seen. Kyle Kirkwood there in 12th from it. Grosjean down in 16th. Colton Hert obviously not getting any laps, seeing his problems there. So interesting that they're struggling after a very dominant run here last year.
And just repeating, it was an oil leak on the Herter car, but the engine is okay. Let's go down to the pits. Here's Marty.